Hi everybody, so today we're going to be looking at the EX4 touch panel. This is our single zone touch panel that connects with all of our RGBW LED strip. It can be controlled using either the RF frequency receivers or it can be controlled using DMX decoders. Okay, so I've got a small setup here just to show you how it works. The EX4S requires only a 240 volt supply. That's all it needs in order to link with the radio frequency receivers. It can either link with the receivers or you can use a DMX decoder, which is a hardwired way of communicating from the touch panel to the LED strip. For this video, I'm just going to connect it to the RF receiver just to show you how it operates. So we've got the 240 volt supply to the touch panel. We've got the low voltage supply to the receiver to the LED strip. So we need to turn on the touch panel, press the match button on the receiver, the lights will start to flash, press any colour on the colour wheel, and that's linked now. So we can set that to red, set it to green, anything we need. You can match as many wireless receivers as you like to one single touch panel. It all works on radio frequency, so it's not like there's any sort of limit on anything like that. The only thing to consider when using radio frequency is these touch panels have the actual transmitter in the back of the unit. So if these were to be housed in a metal back box, or if there was insulated plasterboard around, or a lot of metal framework, anything like that, it will block the signal. So it's always relevant that you need to keep this in some sort of plastic housing or a timber housing, something like that. The plastic back boxes are much more effective rather than the metal ones. These can also be hardwired rather than using radio frequency. That will obviously get rid of any signal issues. Now, in order to do that, it uses something called DMX. Now, DMX is slightly more complicated to get your head around sometimes. However, it's hardwired, so it has got a lot less options when it comes to going wrong. On this particular unit, you've got three outputs: DMX plus, DMX minus, and the ground. So you need to run a 3-core cable from this touch panel to your decoders. And that in effect daisy chains. So you go into one decoder, out of that one, into the next one. That is then your signal wire, basically communicating from your touch panel to your strip. So the decoders would replace this radio frequency unit. Now, if you can, decoders are great. However, they're obviously a lot more labor intensive. You've got more cables to run, and when it comes to setting them up, they can be a little more complicated, but once you've got your head around it, it is fairly straightforward. So when it comes to using the EX series touch panel, it's very straightforward. You've got the colour wheel in the centre, you've got the designated white button which will turn on and off the white, like that. And then you've got some pre-saved modes in the bottom here. These will just scroll through the pre-saved colours attached to the remote. Now, if you wanted to get the white channel only on, there is one only way to do that. What you want to do is scroll through these preset colours until the colours turn off. Now, if you press the W, that is the designated white channel. A lot of customers think that pressing the white on the colour wheel and then pressing the W button would give you the white. And in effect, that will give you a white. However, what you've got there is all of the colours illuminated and the white. So it's a cyan feature plus white. That's not really the white you've paid for. The RGBW has a designated white chip, so it's best to always select it using that. In order to dim and brighten the white, you just press and hold the W button. This will change the brightness of the white itself. Colours, they can be altered elsewhere. So in the top right hand side of the EX4S touch panel, you've got the brightness and speed. Press and hold that and it will adjust the brightness of the colours. The white will always stay the same because the white is adjusted with the W button at the bottom. They're fairly straightforward to use, but if you have any issues, please feel free to give us a ring. Thanks a lot, guys.